Howdy ho there, friends and neighbors. Bobby here tonight. Hey folks, tonight we're going to be doing a rear brake job on a 2004 Hyundai Santa Fe. Come over here and let's take a look at our new parts we're going to be putting on. We got some brand new brake rotors here we're going to install. We also have some of the Wherever Platinum Professional Series brake pads that we used on our Buick. Don't know if you saw that video or not, but they're pretty good pads. I've been very happy with the way they turned out on mine. Comes with new hardware for your caliper brackets, and the pads have the burnishing compound on there to help break in the new pad to the new rotor surface. So let's step around to the back of the car and we'll get started. Okay folks, hey, we're back here at the left rear of the vehicle. We're going to go ahead and start on this side, and we're going to take a 14mm wrench, and I'll just talk about the tools that I'm using as I use them, so you'll be able to hopefully have all these tools if you do this particular brake job. And we're going to break both of those bolts loose with a 14mm box-in wrench. And we're just going to take our ratchet wrench, 14mm ratchet wrench, and we're going to spin these out by hand, because there's really not quite enough room to get our air ratchet in here to do it with our air ratchet. Okay, we're going to lay this caliper out of the way. Sometimes it helps to take a screwdriver and just kind of catch it on the lip of the rotor and kind of start prying that piston back in just a hair. Helps you to lift your caliper out of place. So now with that out of the way, we're just going to lay it right up here on the rear control arm while we pull our caliper bracket off. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and remove our caliper bracket. And on the inside here, it's hard to see. I got my finger on one bolt, and down here I got my middle finger on that one. Those are 14mm headed bolts, and I'm going to use the 3/8 air ratchet with a 14mm swivel, and we'll go ahead and try to back these out. Okay, now if the bolt's removed, you can just simply lift your caliper bracket out of the way. Okay friends, now it's time to remove the rotor. Most cars you can just simply take a hammer and knock your rotor off, but if you look right here, there's actually a tapered screw here that actually holds this rotor in place. So what you'll need is this tool right here. This is what we call an impact driver, and we've got a number 3 Phillips bit on here, and we're going to use our 3-pound drilling hammer and go ahead and hold this in place and smack it, and that uses the impact force to break loose the Phillips head screw. Now with the screw out of place, we'll just grab our rotor and go ahead and lay it out of the way. Now friends, if you see, this vehicle here has parking brake shoes on it, okay? And while you're doing a brake job on here and you got the rotors off, it's a good idea to go and take a look at these parking brake shoes. And as we can see, they got plenty of material left on them, so there shouldn't be any use to do any service to that. Okay folks, back over here at the workbench, I brought this caliper bracket with me. We want to go ahead and start getting it prepared for the new pads and everything. So first thing I've done is pop the caliper pins out here. I'm going to go ahead and wipe the grease that's remaining on there out of the way. Wipe some of that off of there. And then we're going to take this 3M brand silicone paste, and we're going to go ahead and lube up these caliper pins, so they'll be good for another 30,000 miles or so. Hopefully the customer will get at least that many miles out of this brake job. And just kind of twist these as you shove them back in to kind of lubricate that bore really good. I'll go ahead and lube this one up too, and that should be good. I'm going to twist it and shove that back into place as well. So now we're going to go ahead and pull our old pads off if we can. Wow, these suckers are really stuck on here. Okay, there we go. We're going to pull these out of the brackets, and we're going to go ahead and pull these old stainless clips off of here that the pads ride on, because we got brand new ones to go in their place. And then we're going to take our wire brush, I'm going to set it right here. I'm going to knock off all this old dust and everything that gets built up in the area where we want to put the new stainless clips. So we will kind of knock that down good. We'll flip it over. We'll do the other side as well. Get that nice and clean. And we'll just kind of blow it off a little bit. And now we're ready to go ahead and install our new clips here. Let's go ahead and pull these out of the bag. These look to all be identical for either side. Some cars that you work on, you may find that you'll have different clips for different sides or so forth. Those are stuck together. Well, here, let's use these two then. Okay, so we want to go ahead and install our new retainer clips here. And you simply just kind of snap them in place, if you can. It's always more difficult when you're trying to make a video. Definitely more painful. Okay, let's go ahead and put our other one in place. Okay, so there we go. Okay, now with our new spring clips in place, I'm going to take a little bit of grease. This grease actually comes with the brake pad set. Just a thin coat I'm going to rub on these stainless steel clips here. Don't want to put too awfully much. Don't want it getting hot and melting down onto your rotor, causing a problem. Just enough to give a little bit of lubricant to where the pads can slide in the bracket. Okay, now take a look at your old pads here, okay? Notice that this one has a squealer on that side of the pad. So you want to look in your kit here and find the pad that actually matches up with that, which we found that. So that's going to be our inner pad, okay? So let's go ahead and we're going to slide it in place. So there's our inner pad. And now either one of the outer pads will work. They're both identical. And we're going to go ahead and slide those in place as well. And then we will take this back over to the car. So there we go. Folks, we're going to go ahead and take our new rotor over and get it installed. First thing I'm going to do is take some brake cleaner, spray it onto a paper towel. I want to grab this rotor and clean all the oil that's on the surface of this rotor off before I install it onto the car. Okay, folks, time to put the new rotor in place. So we're going to go ahead and slide it on, and making sure that we're going to put the little hole right here lined up with the part on the axle hub here to where we can screw this rotor back down. So let's go ahead and slide it in place, and then we're going to take our number 3 screwdriver along with that screw, and we're going to screw our rotor back down to hold it in place. And one more thing that I want to show you, you'll notice that there's an opening right there in your rotor. That's your adjuster to adjust your parking brake. If you notice in this old rotor, there's a rubber plug there for that. So we want to go ahead and pop this rubber plug out of the old rotor. Usually you can just take a screwdriver to do that, and go ahead and install that into your new rotor just to keep any moisture or anything from getting in there until you need to adjust your parking brake. Next, we'll go ahead and install our new loaded caliper bracket here with our pads. We're going to take the 2 14mm headed bolts to attach them. Make sure you don't lose your little lock washer that come on there. So we're going to go and slide this in place, and I will start both of these by hand before we tighten them down. Okay, next we'll just take our ratchet wrench here, and we'll just go ahead and snug both of these bolts down. If I can reach them. And then we will take our long 14mm box end wrench, and we will put the final torque on both of those. Now friends, if you're not an experienced mechanic and you don't really know how tight to tighten something, you can always look up the spec and use a torque wrench. I will guess to say that on those size bolts right there, probably about 30 to 35 foot-pounds would be a proper spec on these little 10mm diameter bolts. Okay friends, next thing we're going to try to do here is go ahead and press back our pistons. These are actually just regular old press back pistons, kind of like on the front of most vehicles. They're not going to be that hard to press, so I'm just going to take my big channel lock pliers, and as you can see, I'm squeezing them right back all the way now, and that's all the way back. So this caliper is ready to install. Okay, with our caliper in place, we're going to go ahead and install these two 14mm headed bolts, M8s, and we'll snug them down by hand. And of course we can take our ratchet wrench on this as well and tighten these down if need be. And once again, we'll use our long 14. Probably the torque on these bolts here, you're looking for probably around 20, 25 foot-pounds. If you need to use a torque wrench, that ought to be good. So friends, these brakes on the left rear are actually installed. We're ready to move on to the other side. Okay folks, hey, that pretty much wraps it up for tonight. I'm not going to bother filming me doing the other side of the vehicle. It's basically the same process as doing the left side. So we're going to go ahead and continue on and get this wrapped up. I want to thank you for watching our video today on the 2004 Hyundai Santa Fe rear brake job. Hopefully you will like our video, comment on our video, and tell a friend about us. And we will see you next time. Don't forget, we do put out videos daily, so take care.